Hi there, this is Nikki Rowland and today I have a layout for Bramble Fox. I'm using the fabulous July Fox box and I'm focusing on the Hooray. We had a big birthday in May. My husband turned 40. We were during lockdown, unfortunately, not the Vegas trip that we had planned. So we made the most of it and spent a lovely day together. It was really hot, it was a great weather, and we had afternoon tea in the garden and presents in the morning, and then we had dinner party in the evening with some friends via Zoom. So definitely wasn't quite what we had planned, but it was a good day nonetheless. So these photos today are of us having our afternoon tea in the garden, and I'm going to use the words hooray for my title. So I have gone for a dark background, so that is a piece of dark navy cardstock, and I'm going to use this piece of blue paper for my background, and I've cut it into triangles, as you can see. So I've gone diagonal, and the top and the bottom are a piece of paper by Pink Fresh Studio, Let's Stay Home, and I have got another piece here which is by Maggie Holmes Sweet Story. Now this piece of paper is really not my cup of tea. Hot air balloons I don't have much use for. I don't mind the bit of whimsical if I've got some good outdoor photos, but generally hot air balloons need to have something to do with balloons. I'm not really that literal usually when I scrapbook, but certainly not for embellishments. But when you have a big piece of pattern paper with hot air balloons all over them, I feel that they do need to have some relevance to the photos that I'm scrapbooking. Anyway, these really don't, this doesn't really. But what I couldn't do is use the whole sheet, and I didn't want to fussy cut all of those balloons out because I don't have that much need for that many hot air balloons. So I just decided to go for it. It was a hot day, we're outside, so hot air balloons live outside, we were outside, so that's my link. That's where I'm going to go with that one, and I'm sticking to it. So and also it was the right colour, so that helps. I wanted shades of blue for this layout to go with the hooray, and to go with the fact that it's my husband's birthday. So I have no issue at all with putting pink on boy layouts or layouts about men or boys. I have no issue with that whatsoever. I generally scrapbook in terms of season and the feel of the photos rather than who's in them, but I wouldn't probably make a bright pink layout about my husband's 40th birthday. It had to be a little bit more manly than my usual layouts. So I went for blue, and that's why I've got the dark background as well. So yeah, you can see what I've done. Now when I cut the blue paper into the triangles, I did it by eye, and I didn't do it very well. So when I did the hot air balloon paper, I measured it and drew myself a line with a pencil and a ruler, and therefore I made my triangles much better. Now my blue ones are a little bit wonky. I've also had to trim them down a bit so that they're a bit smaller because I wanted to have the blue showing through. So you can see there they don't quite match properly in the middle, but that's okay because I'm going to cover up the middle anyway. I've also spent some time distressing the edges of these triangles too, so I've got some texture in between my layers, and I'm just going to add some extra texture there. You can see that I'm really trying to kind of fold up the joins, the layers, so that they stand up a bit more too. Okay, so that's my background kind of sorted. So now I'm going to go ahead with the photos and embellishing the rest of the layout. Now of course this layout is pretty busy with the two different patterns and large areas of pattern as well, so I need to be careful that I don't go overboard and create something that looks completely chaotic. And I do get carried away with embellishments too. I'm pleased that the top and bottom paper is a bit plainer than the hot air balloons, and reads more of a solid pattern rather than with the big icons on like the hot air balloons. So I will keep most of my embellishment on the top and the bottom piece rather than the hot air balloon paper. Okay, so I'm just going through my Maggie Holmes stash. I have a few bits left. I've used most of it already, but there are a few bits left in my stash that I thought I would get used up today. So I've pulled out a frame, blue frame, chipboard frame that you can see above the photo. There's a label at the top of the layout that says Forever and Ever. And then I've gone through, and there's a chipboard hot air balloon sticker that I've stuck onto the blue hot air balloon sticker over on the right hand side. And now I'm just going through my other stickers and pulling out what works. I've also got a couple of journaling cards I'm going to use behind my photos, and I'm just mounting my photos on some kind of turquoisey or minty coloured paper, just to give them a bit of separation from the background. Another layer helps. I know I have a white border, and that really helps anyway, but the mint green paper also gives extra separation, and that helps loads too. So yeah, definitely a double mount there. Well, it's only a single mount really. Okay, so now I'm just adding some stickers. I've got this one as a little kind of keychain underneath the photo that says Our Happy Place, so that works well. I'm using 2 ice cream pieces of chipboard, which works brilliantly because we ate lots of ice cream and so many goodies that day. I think that was the start of my lockdown extra pounds that I have gained, because that was a big day, lots and lots of food, my goodness. Yeah, just kind of carry on layering and building up the layers and the embellishments. This was a pretty quick layout actually. It came together fairly quickly. I think it's because I had limited stash to use, because I was trying to stick with some of the bits from the Maggie Holmes Sweet Story, and I didn't have much. So I had to be careful about what I was using, and just get it stuck down really. Just had to kind of make decisions and go for it, because there wasn't that much to choose from, so I find that actually tends to work better. So yeah. Okay, so just keep checking on my title. I've added the butterfly at the top there, and a couple of stars, and I will extend those a bit more as well. I can extend them right up to the top of where the label is, the one that says Forever and Ever. I can do the same at the bottom as well, and extend my embellishments down towards the bottom of the layout. That will give me like a vertical line of sight going through the middle of the layout. Now I don't really need that because I have 2 diagonal lines going through the layout, so the eye is really drawn into the center where my photos are, but that extra line of sight I quite liked the way it looked, so I'm gonna go with that. So I've just stuck on my Hooray. Now if anyone else is using this Hooray, be careful, because I ended up with glossy accents seeping through the middles of the holes of the Hooray. Now that's because it's like a Marquee Lights type font, and it has holes in. So a couple of the other design team have stitched through them, which I thought was a really amazing idea, but obviously I couldn't do that because it's been done, and done twice and done well. I had to do. I just thought I would use it as it is. So I'm just going to stick it down, but because I used the wet glue, it went through the holes and appeared on the other side, and glossy accents once dry does not come off of Bramble Fox perspective, so let that be a lesson learned to you through me. I spent some time kind of scraping it off once it was completely dry, and then I've scratched the perspective. So I'm glad you can't see it too badly in the photos at the end, the still shots, and you can't see it here. But my Hooray does look a little bit of a mess, unfortunately. So a little warning there for you. Be careful when you put wet glue on the back of this Hooray Marquee Lights effect, because it will come through. So perhaps put your glossy accents or wet glue onto the paper first, and then put your Hooray into it. That would work better. Okay, so I've added some more puffy stickers. I've added a rainbow and a camera. I've added some other stickers, some florals to the left. I've got some twiddles of gold thread behind my photos on both sides. I'm adding a rubber charm from the Maggie Holmes Sweet Story collection there on the left. That's a hot air balloon. So again, I've stuck that over the pink hot air balloon on the pattern paper. And that is me done. Off camera, I also write 440 underneath the title and my journaling, which I forgot to do, and I realised after I finished that I hadn't put that bit on. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me today. That was Nikki Rowland for Bramble Fox.